take on that in terms of the opportunities provided for people like yourself and for others who may have faces and have been around for a while, but they're not working actors?
Let me ask, could you sort of crystallize the question a little bit better? It
So
feels
what
a
are
little
the
general.
challenges that you face as a working African-American actor that you feel that could help others who may want to pursue what you're doing?
I think for myself, I think the biggest challenge, which I think we all face, is opportunity or lack thereof, historically. I think as we've seen over, I would say, within the last 5 to 10 years, but really even before that, but really crystallized in the last 5 or so years, we've seen that the bar has been raised as far as Black media is concerned, and what we're able to do, the stories that we're able to tell, the diverse stories that we're able to tell, right? From Black women's standpoint, from Black male standpoint, from LGBTQ standpoint, all of these different images that we can put out there from a Black perspective are good stories, stories that need to be told, and also stories that are told well. We're seeing a lot more of that now. And I think that is a byproduct of just opportunity. Opportunity that comes from the studio, but also opportunities that are born out of independent, opportunities being supported by other Black individuals, Black companies, Black production companies, all of those things, and people just having the opportunity to become independent and believing. And so that's all it is. We show that we can do the work. We show that we are capable. We show that we are talented, but you just really need an opportunity. And we have gotten that, which is not as far and few between. We're getting consistent opportunities. We're having people like Ava DuVernay behind, women behind the camera, men behind the camera, everybody to show that they are capable.
I'm going to jump in. I'm an HR consultant. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a lot of different hats, and so my focus is really on, how we show up as Black people in business. And so, as an HR consultant, I've had to coach employees on separating their business from their personal. So, thinking about the movie, The Hate That You Give, and being so entrenched into that story, how do you separate that? How do you separate that? Even some of the other films that you've done. When dealing with these topics, how difficult is it to draw the line between life and art and separate yourself?
Well, I think art gives us insight more into life. Like every time I get to play a character, I start to understand human beings more. That's why I want to play characters that are not exactly the way I am or think always like I think. I think something that Russell was saying earlier that also is happening with Black actors is that, with Black filmmakers are writing fresh stuff. So when you see Atlanta or you see Get Out or you see some of the films that Ava has done, it's like these are characters that you usually wouldn't see Black people playing. And, now it's like, it's not just, okay, well, the Black person is just a Black friend in the story. It's like we've seen Black people be so successful in film and TV now. And my thing is, as an actor, when you play these things, you're gonna absorb some things, and like you should be learning something. You should be able to. Storytelling is supposed to be there to inspire and to heal people at the same token. And if it entrenches you into it and you dive into it real deep, then so be it. As long as you can get out of it and get out of it with something that maybe can be life-changing, so you can apply that to your life. That's just how I approach it, but I don't know if everybody does, but that's how I look at it.
Hold on, that's a question. So close, diversity in media is so broad. In your vision, what is diversity in media, and from your vision, are you seeing it?
I'm seeing improvements in certain ways in when it comes to diversity, but we got a long way to go. We know that, and but I still like to acknowledge the the growth and the fact that there's people out there on the front lines fighting to make sure the diversity is there, that we do have women, that we do have people of color that are moving forward and being leaders in media. Because the talents have always been there, the abilities have always been there, but as Russell said, the opportunities weren't always there. And now what we got to do with the opportunities is we got to knock the fucking door down, like kick it. Yo, we in the door, it ain't no more turning back. So I think, media has to take the same initiative and be creative with what you're doing and be fresh with it. And yeah, man, I think, and also with diversity, it's not only a diversity in color and gender, it's like diversity in thought too. We can't just have like everybody think the same. And yeah, we amongst even black people, we gotta have people from different walks of life because we're not just one monolithic way of people. So I think that also has to be included in diversity, is diversity in thought.
Can I ask, diversity in inclusion is something that's lacking across the board as far as corporate America is concerned on down. But when we talk about diversity in the media, why should the everyday individual care?
I mean, that's really good. Because I've been talking.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no.
but I just,
Yeah, but you can answer because you were already talking about it.
No, from all of your perspectives,
get a
because
fresh
everybody
voice,
has a
yeah.
different perspective on it.
We need the diversity.
Wait, what was the question
Just,
again? I had-
Why should somebody care? Why should
why
everybody
should,
care?
yeah,
Well-
that's not in the media. Why should they care?
Because I feel like those images that you see reflect you. So it reflects how you're perceived and received in the world. And so if there's just one image for somebody, in a red state that only sees a group of people in, one way, and we don't have images that show really how rounded and, colorful, and that wasn't maybe a great word, but we are as people, that we are human beings that have the same feelings, emotions, ups, downs, everything, experiences. I feel like those images they shape how the world is shaped, you know what I mean? It's mirrored back, so I think it's imperative. So even if people aren't conscious that it affects them, it affects them completely when they apply for jobs. Those images are really imperative.
Perfect.
Welcome back home too from DC.
Thank you.
But
Thank
also too, since being from DC, seeing the changes going on and gentrification and different stuff like that, do you feel like there's a way that media, outside of that, like where can we help to keep DC still ours, quote unquote?
It's so interesting because even when I come back to DC, it's so different,
so
from when I was born and raised here, and it's really different because when you grow up in a city that's predominantly black and you're used to seeing, black people like work in the government, also teach, also sell drugs, but all walks of life. You know what I mean? It's specific that when I come home and like my neighborhood is now like where I grew up, which was like 5th and Kennedy.
Totally different.
Yeah. Like I'm like, wow, this doesn't even feel like 5th and
Sweet
Kennedy.
green over there and all types of
Yeah,
stuff.
and the prices, and so it's interesting to see, black people not owning, I saw it happening in Harlem. It's a little painful to see, you know what I mean? I can't lie, you know what I mean, as a black woman. But I love the growth of the city, and I love to see Washington blooming. And my friend is the mayor, so shout out to Mary Bowser. Yes, we grew up together. We did. We did. Isn't that funny? I was like, dang, Mary, what if I told the stories? Teenage stories. But I feel like I wish we owned a lot more. You know what I mean? I don't really know actually what's going on in Washington, financially in terms of blacks and ownership, but I really certainly wish we
Definitely should be more for sure. I want to pose the same question to you too, Common, from your perspective, cities as well.
Well, I think part of it is that aspect of really understanding as black people, we got to support some of our businesses too. And my mother used to always be like, as soon as I started rapping, got my first check, she was like, look, we going to Seaway Bank, which was a black bank in Chicago. And And no matter how much money I received or when things went up and down, I still had some money in Seaway. And it was like that reinforcement of like, yo, you got to keep some of your business flowing in the black communities is, I think, ways that we can, you know, when gentrification is going on, if we like put a stamp down in our communities, like, then they can't move us out in certain ways. And if we do, like, I got one of my best friends, a real estate agent. I got to go to him first. He's well equipped to sell me property. I should go to him first. And those are some of the things that, you know, I have to be reminded, and we have to be reminded to support our businesses, because that can keep the dollar circulating in our community, which I do think will help with the gentrification situation. I mean, it might not cure it, but I think it can help.
So,
My name is HBCU Buzz. You all, well, Maverick, his main theme throughout the film was keeping things within the community, and just like the character Star, you all attended private school. Although being from the city, do you think Star's depiction of her experience at a private school is accurate to you all's personal experience? Starting with Regina.
Well, I didn't have any boys. I went to an all-girls Catholic school, actually. Which changes a whole lot of Star's experiences. But, I mean, I think definitely. I mean, there's a truth to going. You know, I did feel like I went to school. I don't know that I was as bothered. I mean, but I had brothers. I lived in a very black neighborhood that was completely different financially and just, racially than my school. So I think there's always, when you're young, you're trying to kind of find out which world, which world really supports the authentic you. Mm-hmm.
You know, it was interesting. Although I went to all boys Catholic high school, and we were in a small window where we had it was like an 8-year window where we had majority black kids in the school. It didn't last long. It was a small window. I really felt more out of sorts or alienated when I got to college. You know, went to Boston University, and feeling that alienation, not understanding the culture and how people and my way of doing things was different. But I feel like that's the norm, quite honestly. I think that's a societal norm. You know, I think that we all go into different fields and we feel out of sorts. We feel uncomfortable, and we have to find some kind of balance. And then in that we do have to code switch. I mean, we all do, and we even have to do that. I think in instances where it may be predominantly black, we still have to find that delicate balance, because based on how you were raised, where you were educated, from the north, from the south, we're going to have just cultural nuances that are going to be different, and so we have to find a way to adapt and make ourselves, but also make each other feel comfortable. So I think that's a constant challenge, for all of us, because even if we're in the majority, we're always going to be in the minority on a certain level, So.
And for me, the private schools I attended was all black, like from elementary school. I first was in a public school, and then when teachers went on strike, my mother just was like, yo, I got to try to get you in this private school. And she got me in it. And, my school, it was nothing like Stars, because it was just like, the advantages of going to a private school for me was that I had like teachers who paid attention to what I needed. And I feel like I wish we could get that in the public school system. That's what we need that. Like, that was the biggest blessing of being in a private school. And my mother's a teacher in the public school system, so she knew that that's what I was going to get. And so my experience was, even in high school, I went to the school called Luther South, and it was like, it was pretty much 99% black. So I didn't have that experience. Chicago is a real segregated city. So unless you in downtown or Hyde Park, you wasn't getting the mixture of black and white people like the way some cities have. But I gotta say, I definitely hope that our public schools system can get to that level, so that kids feel like, yo, I'm at a private school, because that's really the biggest difference. You got teachers really caring about, like, and the public school teachers care, but they don't have the resources, some of them don't. So it's just like you got teachers that can give more individual attention. At least that's from my experience.
We have one last question.
And just because we're here at the Congressional Black Caucus, can somebody talk about the importance of voting this upcoming midterm?
Yeah, well, I mean, we see the
Life and death.
situation. Yeah, this is the most crucial time to vote ever, I believe.
Yeah, and it's imperative, I think, that we all get out and vote. But I also think when we're talking about the role of media and black media, I think that's really where we need the input. You know, it's how not only how we cover situations or how we cover issues or what have you, but it really is about collectively getting that word out, using black media, black journalism to help inform the community and continue to tell them how much important it is to vote.
And not just social media. I mean, I
Well,
wanna
yeah, that's
say
what I'm
that.
saying,
Like,
yeah.
I just, it's really important. Everyone knows I went to school for journalism. Like, our democracy is it is intrinsic to journalism. And so when you're getting your news sources from somebody who tweeted down, and nobody's checking to validate it, if these news stories are true, like that is detrimental. So we have to make sure that we are informed. And that when we're making decisions, and we're like the decisions that are paramount to today and tomorrow, so that we actually, what we're talking about, so that we can continue to move forward in all aspects of our life, you have to do the research, and then that means checking where you're supposed to vote, you know what I mean, your district, everything, information on candidates. I can't even stress how important it is. And not just important, it's exciting, because we have an opportunity to do something really powerful. And men, y'all too, but y'all know the black ladies are really their votes have changed in many examples. I mean, there's so many people running, but have changed like decisions. And so I just encourage us to encourage everybody to vote.
And I think, we have to be creative with how we engage people, because, I was early on growing up, I was one of them dudes that was like, politics don't matter. Well, young people they care. And they like, yo, we the resistance, we not with the system the way it is. And sometimes they get it mixed up that, we're against the system, and that's the whole system. So we got to make sure that, as Regina said, that people get information about who candidates are. And the candidates got to be clever, the media got to be clever, and the way y'all use celebrities and all that, we all got to put our creative hats on and make it exciting, as she said, to be participating in this, because people want a better world, and people out there marching, protesting, doing whatever they can. I think if they know their vote really does matter, and I think a lot of people seeing that, but not everybody. We need everybody to see that.
Absolutely.
Thank you all so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
so much.
Excellent.